Hello friends, Jeff here and welcome to my corner and welcome to Quick Tip Tuesday number 12. Now in today's session I would like to have a closer look at the essential tools on your workbench. What kind of basic model tools do you need to build a model from start to finish without going over budget or spending too much money? Now we went over this before in a couple different videos, but I thought it would be a neat idea to go over it again in this Quick Tip Tuesday series. Now, this is also tended more towards the novice or a modeler that came back after a long time, or just people that look to picking up the hobby. What kind of tools do you basically need to get started? So I selected a few, and so let's start with number one. Now, the most important tool, according to my experience, and before you can even start gluing anything together, is a Sprue Nipper. Like you see the one here from our tool line, Got Tools. Now, a Sprue Nipper is very important because the word says it itself, it nips parts from your sprue. So it's very important that you have this on your workbench to start with. Now, Sprue nippers are not all that expensive. You can find a very decent sprue nipper anywhere between $10 and $20 and everything in between. The only thing you need to look for is the quality. Make sure that the tip of the sprue nipper lines up, that there is no really any obstructions here, that it's a clean, like it gives you a clean cut. The overall quality, the feel, the ergonomic behind it. So like I said, you can easily find these pretty inexpensive, but very important to have. And of course, you can have one or two laying around, so it always helps to have an extra one. Secondly, most important thing is, of course, a hobby knife. Now, hobby knives, again, like with the sprue nippers, come in all sizes and shapes and prices. But the two most common ones are, like I have here, is the scalpel and is the Exacto knife. Now, what is the difference between a scalpel and an Exacto knife? Well, there's not much difference. They both cut and they both razor sharp. But to me, out of my experience, I always find, although the metal blade of the scalpel is a little softer material than the Exacto knife, I always think with a new blade of a scalpel, it's sharper. To me, it just feels like it is sharper. It doesn't last as long than the Exacto knife, but a new blade is a lot sharper, I think, than the Exacto knife. So why not getting both? Again, they're pretty inexpensive. You get them under $10. So it's always good to have one or two knives on your workbench and to do the job. Another thing, of course, is tweezers. Now, tweezers, that's something that you really need to look into more closely. Now, how many tweezers do you need? Well, according again to my experience, you can never have enough tweezers. Now, do you need 100 tweezers? No, absolutely not. But do you need a few? Yes, I would advise you to invest at least in between maybe 3 or 5 tweezers in all kind of configurations to have them close on your workbench and make sure that they're quality. Now, tweezers usually, they cost around between $5 and $10 for a decent tweezer, like a stainless steel here. But always make sure when you look at a tweezer, it has to feel like just right. And also, of course, the tip. Make sure that the tip is always aligned. Now, what kind of tweezers should you buy? Well, that is up to you. Honestly, I always like the curved ones to start with. So if you only can, okay, maybe, I'm not going to say afford one tweezer, but if you only say, okay, I'm just going to do this for a short time, or I'm just starting out, I would advise to get you a curved one. Why? I don't know. It just feels better. It's easy to manipulate. It's easier to pick up smaller parts, to glue them somewhere. So a curved tweezer, if you're only going to get 1 or 2 tweezers, make sure you get one that is curved like this. And then, of course, we have the other one, so it's slightly curved, which has its benefits, and the straight one, and another configuration that maybe holds a little bit better, less slippery. But for tweezers, just if you're planning to do this hobby for a long time, you're better off with, like I said, you can never have enough of those. But if you start with between 3 and 5 tweezers, you should be fine. Even 1 tweezer will suffice, but again, it's always nice to have a couple. Then we have some sanding sticks. You know, sanding sticks or sandpaper is important because after you nipped the part from the sprue with the sprue nipper, after you cleaned it with the knife a little bit, then of course you have to make sure that you clean the part with a sanding stick. And you don't have to have like 20 sanding sticks. No, like a medium and a rough and maybe a fine sanding stick will do the trick. And those things, believe it or not, they last a long time. Again, if you take care of it, if you don't do anything out of the normal, then those sanding sticks will last for months, if not years. And then of course, last but not least, we have the glue. Now there's a lot of things said about glue. There's a lot of glue on the market. There's a lot of good glue on the market, and I'm just only showing you 3 of these. We get the Tamiya extra thin, which is very popular, which is a good glue. We get the plastic cement from Testers, which is a very good glue, and then of course, last but not least, we have our own glue here, like a plastic welt from our own tool line. So there is also the question, why would I use plastic cement when I can have a tube, and a tube glue is maybe less dangerous to knock it over or to make spillage or anything. But tube glue, you know, it has its advantages, but if you start out, I would just recommend to get like a liquid glue like here, like a plastic cement or a plastic welt. They basically all are the same and they do the trick. They fuse plastic together, and that's less problems than you use a tube glue, and you never know. Tube glue also takes a little bit longer to cure. So you can't go wrong with any of these. So here you are. This is basically all you need. You get the glue, you get a couple tweezers. You don't need to buy 4 at once, but at least 2 will be handy on your workbench. A couple knives, like I said, maybe a scalpel, maybe an Exacto knife. It's always good to have at least a couple knives on your workbench. And of course a couple sanding sticks or sandpaper, and the good old trusted Sprue Nipper. So this is basically all you need. And again, when I add everything up, you easily find these things under 40 bucks. So for a rather inexpensive amount, you can buy a lot of good stuff. And again, I cannot emphasize enough, if you take good care of these, they will last a long time, and I'm talking years. So, and then it's just up to you if you want to add on some more stuff. And of course, in next time or in another session of Quick Tip Tuesday, we'll go over what are more advanced tools. If you start thinking about scratch building, if you start thinking about super detailing, then of course there is a couple other tools that you need. But for now, these are the only essentials you need. The only essentials, the only basic tools you need to start a kit and to build it from start to finish. So again, I hope you liked it, guys. I hope I was able to at least give you a little bit more insight on what kind of tools you need. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course like and share us on Facebook. And most importantly, don't forget to go to our website at www.jeffvcornerstore.com for any new updates. So I'll see you guys next time at the next Quick Tip Tuesday number 13. Jeff V here, signing off.